Buffalo Bills wrapping up mandatory minicamp today. We'll talk with Sal Capaccio at 5 p.m. for the latest. But following this afternoon, the Bills will then have 48 days off until the start of training camp. And for more on this week, Sal does have pieces up at our website, WGR550.com. Some other NFL news, the Broncos signing head coach Sean Payton to a new 5-year deal. Payton did have 2 years remaining on his current contract. Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Finals tonight at 8. Carolina does host Las Vegas. The series, of course, tied 2-2. Brandon Bussey is expected to get the start in net for Carolina, but Freddie Anderson is available after skating earlier this morning. And coverage of Game 5 will get started right here on WGR about a half hour before puck drop at 7:30. Also going on today, the 2026 World Cup is getting underway in just a matter of moments. The first game is Mexico versus South Africa. That is a rematch of the 2010 opener when South Africa hosted the tournament. That game did end 1-1. And then at 10 o'clock later tonight, South Korea versus Czechia. The United States, they're going to get their tournament started tomorrow night versus Paraguay. And then in baseball, Bison's home tonight versus Syracuse. First pitch at 6:35. That game can be heard on our sister station, the Bet 1520. While in the majors, we've got some early afternoon action. The Mets, they are all tied up with St. Louis 4-4 in the 6th. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for West New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
How many bees is a swarm? Is 2 a swarm or 3, whatever? How many does it have to be? And
like 7.
It's Mike Schopp.
How many times do you have to be stung to have been swarmed? And I was like, dude, I got swarmed. I got stung only once, but I was swarmed.
And the Bulldog.
You insist you were swarmed.
There were bees, man, like plural, big, lots of S's. Lots of E's and S's. Bees. that was not
Bees.
fun. Right. That was not fun.
On WGR.
Hey, man, that kind of hurt.
Sports Radio 550.
Gotta admit, that sounded pretty good. 48 days off. That's not approximate, is it? That's the number?
Yeah, I guess.
48 days off? How would you like 48 days off? Be careful what you wish for. But
That's a heck of a break. Yeah.
that does sound nice. Did you ever in your life imagine or dream of being a teacher so that you wouldn't have to work summers? Did you ever come close to that?
No. I mean, I think I thought about it afterward. You know, like by the time I was in my 30s, I might have thought, maybe I would have been good at that, and that would be nice to have, July through September off. Maybe I could get used to that, but it never was something ahead of time, when I could have done anything about it. I thought, I'm going to go to school to become a teacher so that I can have summers. I never thought about becoming a teacher.
I'll tell you what, neither did I. As much as I respect teachers, it might not have even been until I was out of school. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. They don't have to work summers. I mean, I'm sure there's teachers are going to tell me that there is some work that you do, preparation, whatever else. I'm sure that's right. But it was really, for me, maybe because I just really didn't like summer growing up. Summer was not my favorite time of year. I liked school. I liked sports. And summer had baseball, but that was kind of it.
You saved it a little there with sports. You liked school, hated summer.
I didn't hate summer, but it was not it might have been my least favorite season.
Yeah.
Just, it was it's a different day to day in the summer.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. But
you're home. That means you have to do work and stuff.
If you filled it,
I'd rather do my work at school.
Some of that, I guess, but I
didn't look forward to it.
I don't think that this is a situation where I have an idealized version of what my teenage years were like. I really think in the summer, every day that it wasn't pouring, or some other reason, on the bike up to the schoolyard to play baseball or sports. Sure, there wasn't stuff on TV, but we played everything all summer.
Yeah, that wasn't my favorite thing to do.
And I just loved that. I mean, just the, basketball at 3 o'clock after we get home, after lunch. And then, it's just whose driveway, because 5 of us in the neighborhood had hoops on our garages.
I like playing hockey. And that was not in the summer. That was at usually at Jake's house.
That usually was not something we did in the summer. That's right.
Right. So anyway, I don't know. Just 48 days off, though.
Yeah.
Kind of exciting to hear that.
Yeah.
I guess that means we should kind of wrap up whatever there is to wrap about the Bills and this period of practices that we don't really get to know that much about. I don't know. I don't really know how to do that. Sal will be on later, and we'll figure out a way by then. Hopefully, I will, to kind of put a bow on this, spring football, whatever it is that we've been, kind of covering. I mean, Sal's been covering it.
Yep.
I want to talk about the Knicks.
Good. I want to say every minute of that, but it's possible somewhere between like down by 20 and down by 10. My eyes might have shut for a moment or two, but like I really want. I saw everything that mattered.
Did you watch the first half?
Yes.
So did I.
Yeah.
I only watched the first half, not all of it. I watched the second quarter.
I will do this. You know what I do I do this with hockey too, with the Cup final. I will get through 2 periods, or with the basketball game last night. That seemed like a really long first half. I think. But anyway, halftime,
Yes, the first quarter.
Yeah.
I did watch some of the first quarter because I came back into the room at one point. Like, it's still the first
went
quarter.
on forever, yeah.
They were in the 40s,
So
the Spurs.
Yeah. So I'll pull the chute on the downstairs big screen and just settle for the iPad and get in bed. And usually there's an intermission, halftime. Now, with the basketball, I want to see the halftime show. So I actually waited, stayed downstairs, watched the Barkley Shaq show, and then went upstairs. And, it's a 27-point game at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
And all right. And same thing with hockey. Especially if there's a lead, if it's a one-sided game in any way, which isn't that common in hockey, but certainly was the case with basketball. All right. Third quarter can start. I don't urgently have to turn it on, so I'll read some stuff that I had saved through the day during the show. Even I'll flag stuff on Twitter that I might want to read later. I don't have time for it now. I'll do some of that and then look. Okay, well, let's see where we're at. And last night that took a little longer than normal, and so the fourth quarter was about to start, and it's a 15-point game. I'm like, all right, I think I'm going back. Like that doesn't seem insurmountable. With the kind of postseason the Knicks have had, it's a 15-point game. It was 27, even got to 29 at one point.
It doesn't seem insurmountable, but if that's me and I'm getting tired and I'm interested enough to start the fourth quarter, I mean, I'm not going all the way unless it gets close quick.
I did that with them earlier this postseason and got burned. Like I missed some great I missed a great comeback because I just thought, this is toast. So I wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm enjoying watching it, so I turned it back on and saw, And at one point, it's 15. It got back to 20.
In the fourth?
In the fourth quarter. Got back to 20.
Wow.
But that's where I thought I might have nodded off and then, woke back up again. What a scene. What a scene. It was. I'm glad I made it. I'm glad.
No, you got paid off.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely worth every minute of lost sleep.
Well, I don't know if I want to apologize for this, but I turned it on in the first quarter. Really, just let's get a peek at this. Let my daughter see what Wembanyama looks like. She didn't care. It didn't seem to. My wife got as far as to say, "Oh, he's tall," and then she went back to what she was doing. Like nobody cared in my house. My son's out of town, so. It was going to be just me, and I gave it some time. I got into it, and the second quarter was a sight to see in how the Spurs just never missed. I mean, they were making shots from all over the court. It was kind of a joke, and that isn't the kind of game, I mean, if I may be like basketball guy for a second, that isn't the kind of game where that team is going to win. I mean, there are different kinds of leads in sports, and if one team is just making all the shots, there's some chance that they won't keep doing that the whole game.
Go figure.
I got annoyed by the dumb stuff that annoys me. We had a foul. There was a play. You were watching it. There was a play where the Spurs made a 3, and Wembanyama got fouled, and so we had to spend it was at least 3 minutes, I would say, on whether it was flagrant. and all this time goes by. They're just showing the same replays over and over and talking, and like people are paying how much money to go to this game, and you just got to sit there and wait for the refs to get done staring at a screen for maybe 1 point in the second quarter of a game where their teams are going to score in the hundreds. I just hated that. So I got so mad.
There was a moment with about 3 minutes to go. And I would say before I make this point, because it turned out not to be true, but you know how the end of basketball games can go, right? Like it's just going to take forever. And the drama was so compelling that it never really felt like that. But there's a moment where Mike Breen says, both teams have 2 timeouts and still have challenges left. I'm like, that sounds like a threat to me. That sounds like you're telling me I'm going to be here till midnight. Like, I don't.
Are you asking me to turn it off?
Yeah, right.
Is that what you're saying by that?
Are you begging me to just go, I don't want it. But it ended up not being that cumbersome. It was just so dramatic that I didn't even mind the stoppages, and there still were a lot of them because I think they used it. There weren't any challenges after he said that, which was I'm thankful for. There's the usual timeouts, and frankly, as exciting as it was, I think I kind of needed the timeouts to sort of like, whoa, my gosh, this is so good. So I didn't really mind it, but when he said it, I was like, oh, come on. I'm going to be here for another 45 minutes.
I mean, I have not – I used to love every sport and watch every sport, and this is maybe why I didn't always love summer because a lot of these sports went away that time of year. But I would watch as much as I could of, say, the NBA Finals, NBA playoffs in like the 80s and 90s. And eventually that I grew out of that until – somehow, probably doing this, it's like if you're a casual with a sport, sometimes a friend or, whatever, Twitter, it comes along like, you got to see this, though. I know you're not doing this anymore, but just take a look at this. And that's been Wembanyama. Like, take a look at this guy.
Yep.
And I haven't done that yet. But that happened to me with the Warriors in whatever 2015, whenever that was, when – You got to watch this. You got to watch Curry. You got to watch Golden State. And I did, and I was so excited about that the stupid stuff about basketball did not bother me. It did not. Now, I don't know if they did reviews even then. At least like last night where the official speaks into the camera. Yeah. I mean, we just cannot quit that. I don't know. It's just never going away. It's just going to get worse and worse until the end of time. Whatever it was, I mean, the timeout thing has always been true about basketball. And the officiating being so random, like everything's a foul, but not everything's called a foul. I always hated that. That team hooked me. And I didn't mind all the stuff that I mind. And I watched them all the way, as much as I could get out of Golden State, and rooted for them to an extent that maybe didn't make sense. I've never been a bandwagon fan. It's a California team against Cleveland. Like, why am I rooting for Gold? I just did. Like, that was the team I liked. So anyway, that died off. Then this guy shows up, and the Knicks story is great too. Yeah. If it's San Antonio against Cleveland, I might not bother. No offense to Cleveland, Indiana, whoever. But the Knicks it's a 53-year championship drought. All right, I'm not above this. I'll check this out. But it was like, oh, my God, with these foul calls. I mean, justify that. And the Spurs are way ahead, so they didn't have a leg to stand on because, I mean, in basketball, you don't get calls when you're on the road and winning.
Up by 25. Before halftime.
And, but I didn't want to be like that.
Yeah.
And I wanted to appreciate it. And I know how excited most people are about it. So I got to halftime, and it was 27.
Yep.
Like, okay, well, I'm all set.
Check, please. Yeah.
It's 27.
Yep.
And to see, I was still up when the Knicks won the game. I just saw it on my phone. And like, you got to be kidding me that they won that game.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's why we love it. That's great.
Right.
Comebacks
and chokes. Yes. Too, because the Spurs, this guy Fox. Like, I'm no expert, so I don't want to I don't know the guy's career. I mean, I've read a little about him today because he's the guy, I think, mostly. Like, he just threw the ball away and took a bunch of bad shots. I don't know, bad shots. They were open shots. He just missed them. Is more what it is, I think.
Is he the guy that goes for the layup?
Yes, it's all him. The only thing he didn't touch was the final sequence, the inbounds play that goes awry. That's not him. And he abandoned.
He was the guy who didn't.
He spun away from.
Cover.
He was covering the inbounds guy.
And then he left him.
Why is his name escaping me? Zach, the guy that blocked the shot and then tipped in the winning basket. Oh,
OG Anunoby.
okay, thank you.
Now say it.
Odunobi. He spins away to double team Brunson and leaves that guy unguarded, and then he runs to the basket and tips it in. So he's like at the flashpoint of like every mess in the last, I don't know, even into the third quarter. Like he was just turning it over and just very sloppy. Fox.
Well, he was in on it then.
So I don't know, but really, really, that's why I say like yes, full credit. The Knicks made all these shots and made this dramatic comeback, but man, the Spurs stepped on a couple of rakes too.
I don't think there can be a historic comeback without the other team participating in it, like the Oilers against the Bills.
Right.
You know, I mean, every great comeback has these blunders by the team in the lead. I mean, what was Houston that day? It was coverage stuff eventually, but, not recovering the onside kick and a couple of turnovers maybe. The field goal, right? There was a field goal that the holder, Montgomery was his name,
botched, yeah.
Didn't catch the snap. Del Greco is the kicker. Like, I mean, I guess you may need that stuff to pull off historic comebacks. It's great about the Bills one. That's so long ago now, but one thing I love about the Bills comeback against the Oilers is you have 35-3 into the third quarter. The first touchdown of the third quarter is a pick six. And so it's 28-3 at halftime. That's bad. I did not turn that game off, by the way. But, I wasn't too optimistic. Then you get into the third quarter.
Lucky you if you were able to watch it.
I watched it. Well, I guess I did leave at that point, but I watched it because a friend of mine worked at Channel 10 in Rochester, the NBC station, and he and I just watched the game, and he wasn't working. We watched the game from the back. But at 35-3, I went back to my dorm because, come on. You don't want to watch a game like that because that's a game where if you lose, your season's over. The Bills were in this historic run where they were trying to get to a third straight Super Bowl, tying the record, and it's going to end, and Kelly's hurt. It's going to end like this?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that I really want to see that. Anyway, it's so long ago. But what I was going to say I love about that is that it is 35-31 in the third quarter. It's not even, late when they pull that off.
That's right.
It's not that late. They take the lead, and then Houston ties the game. But, yeah, I mean, I like that about that it just wasn't all completely at the end. I mean, they make the comeback before the fourth quarter even starts that day, which is different from last night.
For sure.
If it means anything to anybody.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, it was maybe 2 minutes in, maybe around the 10-minute mark, the Spurs made a bucket to get it back to 20. And I wonder if anybody was like me who saw, the halftime score, leave it over there, I'll check back in. Okay, it's 15 now to start the fourth quarter. I'll go back and watch, and then it gets to 20 again. You might have just been, all right, I'm out. But I kind of hung in there. And, geez, I mean.
Who is the team to root for?
That's just it. Like, I like Wembanyama so much. I don't really know a lot about the rest of the whole Spurs story.
I know they have 3 top 5 picks in a row.
And, a couple of hotshot rookies. Or just very young guys. Like, the point guard is real young. There's another guy that's, 20 maybe even. They've got some, it might not be their time yet. You know what I mean? Like, Wembanyama's is this only his second year? Third year. Okay. So they're really compelling to me, but I've said I also like the Knicks story. Like, it's a good story. I don't find them, most New York teams, because of the fan bases, maybe to some extent,
it's tough.
Just get too obnoxious for me, and I just can't stand it. And I know that's got to be there with the Knicks, but the fact that it's been so long, I don't know. I find myself treating them differently than I would treat a great New York team, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sort of bulletproof watching that unfold. Like, either outcome, I'm going to be all right. I mostly just wanted a 2-2 series so that I would get more games. because the games have been, much like the hockey, very entertaining. I mean, the Spurs have had double-digit leads in every game of the series.
I mean, you have to bet the Spurs heavily in Game 5, don't you?
Yeah, I think so.
Doesn't the league want this
Yeah, right.
to not be over already?
I would. That's
At
certainly going to be
home.
out there. Yeah. So, I don't know who to root for. I really don't have a horse, and I'm not souring on one or the other as it's going on, because sometimes that can happen. Like, these are equals, but I'm watching, and now I don't like that, I didn't like that, I didn't like that. Okay, I'm rooting for this team now. That has not happened here. I'm just taking it in, and it's great.
I used to like the Knicks, but it is tough to root for New York City, I think. It doesn't come easily. Last night, I was enjoying the Spurs dominating the first half. Like, oh, wow, this is incredible.
Right, both things are great. The crowd being stunned into silence while the Spurs are just hitting every 30-foot shot on the board, just shoom, 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 just missiles flying, was awesome. And then watching the wave and feeling the wave of emotion as they got close and then eventually took the lead was fantastic too. Like, I don't know, I can't lose, I guess, as long as it's entertaining. You know, there's no way that I would have found anything about that compelling other than them shutting the crowd up if the Spurs won that game by 35. It just would have been, I wouldn't even gone back to it. Mm-hmm. You know, if I look and it's 25, not 15 to start the fourth quarter, I wouldn't have never even turned it back on.
I also don't want to apologize for this, but we've talked about this when it even was the Red Sox 20-plus years ago, the Cubs. I like droughts as a storyline. I like that. I like having that. It's something to cling to. I never believed in the curse nonsense for the Red Sox or the Cubs, but with all due respect to fans, so-called long-suffering fans, you know, it's kind of an interesting thing about baseball that these two historic franchises can never win and have gotten as close as the Red Sox got and still couldn't win. I liked that about baseball, or is just about something to talk about with the sport. In a day and age as we get older, it's just more and more like this, where just kind of random teams that win wild card berths can get through and win championships. I like the big stuff like that.
Well,
so I never wanted to root for the Cubs or the Red Sox, because then it would be over.
It can be, I've talked about this a lot. We've covered this, so I won't go long here, but it can be the kind of thing that really sets a franchise apart. And from, like, as it turns out, I remember the day after the Red Sox won in 2004. I mean, it's going way back. You making that point, and I sort of, I'm like, come on, I don't want to hear that right now.
I know.
But you know what? I've admitted years later, like, it probably is the thing about baseball I miss the most.
Not only are
is
you
that
just another team after that,
right,
but you're a big money team that when they're in last place, like right now, it's especially bad.
Like, look away. Yeah, for sure. It's a big part of the reason why I've been as distant from the Red Sox over the last, I don't know, 20 years as I have been.
One thing that always gets said when we have this conversation is, well, what happens when the Bills win?
Right.
Or the Sabres? And, like, are we just done with it? And I don't know. I'm not ruling that out. I mean, that's the most interesting thing to me about them and about the Bills and Sabres together, is that never have they won a championship. I mean, since the 60s, but never have they won one championship. And every year you have this added element of interest and excitement because this could be the one, unlike almost every other team that they play against. They're still looking for that one. And I don't root against them so that continues, but it does make it more interesting every year when they still haven't done it yet. And, you know, that's obviously still the case. So there's that with the Knicks, but that doesn't really get me to root for them. Enough people do that. Enough people root for them. They don't need me. Right. You know? But you'll want to see it if they do it.
Yeah, I think so. And like last night to me is the kind of game that because there's a lot. I've got friends who I think I would describe as being basketball fans, maybe even big basketball fans. and I hear a little more, I can't watch it anymore. The style of the game, right? There's no post play. It's all like just bombing threes, and that like people that maybe my age, around our age, sort of feel this is maybe a little bit of the Warriors' point. Like, I feel like they sort of ushered this era in to an. They weren't first to it, but still the value of the 3 versus the 2 and all that. I think there's people that used to really love basketball that won't turn it on. I feel like last night would be a game that, despite all the 3-pointers, you could still sort of, wow, I missed this. This is really great.
Those people tend to be very stubborn and not necessarily sound like they're ready to give it another chance. But I don't know. Yeah, incredible story. 29 points down in the finals. That had never happened.
Right.
Later, Dan Leberfeld will talk about the Jets and the AFC East. Sal Capaccio will join us as well before the 48 days off kick in for the Bills, which, that starts tomorrow. Everything's over after today until training camp. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Lines are open for your calls, 803-0550. Also, the latest speculation on Alex Tuck to talk about as well. This is WGR.
shot, no good. The tip, it's gone! It's gone! It's gone! With 1.2 remaining, Knicks take the lead. OG Anunoby, and it's 107-106.
Pretty good sequence for that fella. the block, not to foul Fox on, it's like under 12 seconds to go. He's got just a run with a loose ball. He deflected it down the court, ran it down, and thought he was going to have, I think, he said afterward, I just thought I'd win the race. Like, he's known for his speed, I guess, Fox. And
his name is Fox, so.
Yeah, right, okay, fast. And Anunoby just did a tremendous job there. Although I did see a screen grab that shows him hacking him right on the arm as the ball is still in his hand. So I don't know. Maybe that should have been a foul too. I don't know.
I mean, that's basketball.
Right.
I think it's worse than hockey for officials' randomness.
I
think it's worse than hockey.
That game started, like, I don't know if you said you watched the first half.
I didn't watch the beginning.
The Twitter during the first half of that game, maybe even especially the first quarter, was just Knick fans complaining endlessly about how slanted the officiating was.
Which is probably wrong.
Sure. I don't know. I don't.
Well, it's such a mind-numbing topic. Should officials care about that calls are made pretty much evenly? No. But they do. You would. Because this happens.
Right.
And if you called all the penalties or fouls or whatever on one team, you'd have that problem. And you'd have Warren Sharp with stats about how when the Bills have whoever as referee, they're 1-12 or something. Like,
right.
Well, wait a minute. I'm the referee, and why is that even a story? Like, I didn't try to injure them with my calls.
I just called it like I saw it.
So then you get this kind of, you appreciate the understanding that it's going to be pretty even. If you're watching an NHL game, especially a playoff game, and one team gets the first two penalties, you want to bet your house that the next one is going to be on the other team. And it's just like, that's how this all tends to work. And, to have any fan that you can take seriously say that, like, well, it's obviously biased against one team. You just can't even have a conversation with that person. It's just impossible.
Yep.
But I think basketball is worse than hockey for just kind of like, all right, I'm ready. Now's a good time for a foul.
Yeah.
Now's a good time. All right, because I can call it any time I want. It's like football and holding. Anytime I want. Nope, it's been a while. Haven't called a penalty against this team. I see it. Now's a good time. Now's fine. It's not going to decide the game, right? Because that's bad too. If you call the same thing with, past the 2-minute warning and somebody's driving down 4, well, that's the official deciding the game, obviously.
Yeah.
I think it's all pretty obvious and boring to listen to, but, once in a while, you can maybe say it. Hopefully it's okay. That was what was on my mind some of last night. Just, All right. We have a goal in the World Cup in the first game. Mexico 1, South Africa 0. This is a matchup, really one of the great rivalries in sports. Brian Koziol versus Brian Koziol in our pool.
He's got both.
It's really hard to separate these two teams, Brian and Brian. But he picked both Mexico and South Africa. So I don't know. I don't know how the points work.
I don't either.
I can tell you how the Survivor format works now, because I did 4 Survivor World Cup entries, 2 different tournaments, Kelly in Vegas, and then the Swolecast. I entered 2 teams in that one. And they both are the same. It's too late to recommend this because the tournament has just started.
Yep.
But what they have is you pick 4 teams to get through group stage. So you have 48 teams, more than ever in World Cup, and 32 make it out of group stage. The 8 first-place teams, how many is it? The 12 first-place teams, the 12 second-place teams, that's 24, and then the 8 best third-place teams in the groups go to the knockout round. And so what you have to do in Survivor is you have to pick 4 teams in group stage, and they all have to make it to knockout, or else you're out.
If one of the 4 goes out, you're out.
Because I was wondering what will they do about ties, but there's nothing because all you have to do is advance. The 4 teams you pick all have to advance, and this will be like one of Joe Ostrowski's.
It's not match by match. It's more like the whole first round. Okay, gotcha.
Right. It's kind of like Joe Ostrowski's thing too, where like Sal got into the late stage in the NCAA tournament, but he had used all the good teams. He didn't have anybody left.
Yeah.
And so the strategy is, who do I pick that I think will advance but won't win after that? And I think there's one team, I don't know. Now I'm a soccer guy. Team USA is exactly that.
Right.
Where they might be in an easy enough group and might be just good enough to get through, but then maybe that's it. And so I used them on Survivor because I thought that made sense.
Yep. Yeah, I think the first time we talked about this with Sam, even he mentioned like that, betting them to win it is just like, if you want to do it, knock yourself out. But like, come on, you shouldn't really expect to win that bet. But group stage, that's realistic. And I feel like I've heard a lot of that around. So that makes sense. I think if I were in one of those, I would have taken them to get one of my 4 to get there.
Then we have the work pool. Brian versus Brian today. My teams are Argentina, Croatia, Czechia, and Jordan. Bulldogs are Belgium, Senegal, Panama, and Congo. The Democratic Republic of
Correct.
Congo, by the way.
Yes.
The other Congo didn't make it.
Dr. Congo.
Dr. Congo. And Panama was a fun one on the thread last night. I'm disappointed that I didn't get it right away.
I said to you before we left, this thing, we were, I don't even know what time it finally wrapped up. I stopped looking at my phone.
Maybe 8?
But I mean, I was done early enough because I was at the bottom, and so by the time round 4, I was quick after I made my 3rd pick. So I was wrapped up. But I told you before we left, like if this is still going on, all I really want is to get to my next pick, my 3rd pick, and have Panama still available, because everybody else most of the day was, that you tweeted the shot of Messi with the trophy from 4 years ago, right?
In a group text.
Right, in the group text. Everyone was, flags and whatever. And my first 2 picks, I'm just typing in the name of the country. Yeah. And I'm looking at
school.
This is my process. This is not how you should gamble, kids. My process was looking at the field of teams that were still left, and I went, Panama. All right, I can use the Van Halen. I can use a highlight. I actually went to my phone and looked. Like if I go to the GIF maker or whatever and type in Panama, what comes up? And the second image that came up was David Lee Roth swinging on a line with a boombox up to his ear from the very beginning of the Panama video. I'm like, I'm picking Panama. I want to use this in the group text thread. I don't care if they're going to win. I just want to do this. And fortunately for me, they were still there, and I put that up. And nobody. I didn't wait that long. I could have waited longer, but I didn't want to hold everyone up. You know what I mean? Like if somebody was waiting behind me, Brian was waiting behind me to make his 2 picks and be done.
And he doesn't know what that is a reference to?
I didn't want to sit there and have, wait for people to, what is this, Mr. Wizard? So I like 5 minutes went by and I threw I put the answer up that it was Panama.
And that's actually a clip from
the video.
Their performance from the video that song.
That song, the video. It's the opening. I don't even think the song is playing yet. It's just it's the first. I think it's the first thing you see in the video is him swinging on that line,
wearing some sort of purple jumpsuit.
Oh, of course, right.
Of course,
right. Chest hair everywhere, and
David Lee Roth,
some kind of goggles on or something. Like I don't know. Yeah. So I was proud of that.
I didn't give you any sort of room to breathe there. Like much as I guess I always am like that. I just texted something like, I know you were excited about this, but I still don't get it. I don't know what this is. Right. I mean, I even know countries pretty well, and I still can't figure out what this is, what the reference is here. And so you had to do the thing that you hate to do, which is sort of explain it, which is my fault because it really didn't need that.
Again, I don't think it's your fault. I was conscious of the fact that everyone was I just didn't want anyone to be waiting. That's all.
I tried to draft Hot for Teacher in the 4th round of this draft.
Right.
But Apparently, they're not in the World
They're
Cup.
not affiliated with any,
Hot for Teacher
any
did
of the
not make it.
nations that
No,
qualified.
they got knocked out by Uzbekistan in the late stages of the qualifying rounds. Hot for Teacher. So, all right, well, good luck to Brian playing himself today in this first game. The second game tonight is in Guadalajara, Korea versus Czechia. Oh,
Well, that's you, right?
that's me. Who's got Korea? Look out. You've got Korea in the other
Korea
thing.
in my bar pool, yeah.
Owen has him in this.
Oh, he got them.
212, the 212 pick. The 2-3 turn versus my Czechia that I picked in the third round. I love the World Cup. I hope it doesn't get dumb with politics stuff and whatever else. But I will watch. And Owen said the same thing. As he was walking out, he told me. He said the same thing getting home and watching this game. I will watch as much of it as I can. The flags today, the opening ceremony, Bocelli's up there singing. How could you not be moved? I was moved. It's the Olympics, if only soccer.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really excited about it. So those are the two games today. One underway. It's 1-0 Mexico first half. Tomorrow is USA-Paraguay at night, preceded by the game in Toronto. Canada and Bosnia-Herzegovina. That's you.
That's me in this thing. No, that's me in the other. That's
thing.
the other thing. So, all right.
Survivor thing, this other thing, our thing.
No.
It's going to get
What time
pretty
is that
convoluted.
Canada, Bosnia, Herzegovina game?
Maybe 3.
It's just like today. Okay, good.
The map I have, it's really small. I got to try to zoom in on it.
Well, good. I'm just looking for there to be games on while we're here. That's all. Not that I couldn't watch it if it started at 6, say, but, fine.
3 tomorrow, I believe, is correct.
All right.
And then USA, I think, is at 9.
Right. I knew that. Yep.
At 4 today, Dan Leberfeld on the Jets and their offseason. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Sal Capaccio later today, too. This is WGR.
For more comfort.
Now's the perfect time to make yourself comfortable with a new electric heating and cooling system from Belknap.
In Western New York, summer and winter bring extreme temperature conditions. Make yourself comfortable with Mitsubishi electric heat pumps, designed to keep your home cool in the summer and warm in the winter, no matter how hot or cold it gets outside. Call Belknap today to learn more.
I'm Gary Gorfel, president of Belknap. We work on your schedule. We don't charge more for weekends and evenings. That's why we say,
Give Belknap a ring.
You were good on this yesterday. I have another
thank you.
Hockey 82-0 random player team poll that, I mean, you'll probably remember this. It's not even very long ago. It's like 5 years ago. But I spun Capitals 2020s, and I'm immediately just going to Ovechkin. Like, that's not even thinking, is there someone else I should, John Carlson, is there someone else I should maybe pick? Chara.
What?
Okay, I got you on one. Zdeno Chara played 55 games for Washington 5 years ago.
What?
Evidently. 2 goals, 8 assists.
I watch a lot of hockey. I don't remember that at all. Wow.
Well,
Really?
I didn't pick him. Then he played another year after that for the Islanders. He went back to the Islanders. Do you have that? I don't have that.
I feel like I remember that.
Okay.
The Capitals. Oh, that
Chara
hurts.
on the Caps.
That hurts. Yeah. 55 games. Did he get traded there? Did he sign there and was just missed time with injury? Or like what? Was it an in-season trade?
I think that was like the whole season
Okay.
that year.
Oh, okay. COVID. Yeah, okay.
It was a shortened season.
All right. Yeah. Huh.
Right? That one stumped you.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I would never know.
Hockey 80, man, I got to get a life. Hockey82and0.com, the GeoSport one, where you have the 5 sports questions in the globe. And then there's Map Tap, I think that's what it's called, where there's questions, but it's not sports. You have to locate cities, and you can play head-to-head with people on that. I've got a guy in the ADP Chasing Discord that's challenged me to one-on-one in the map game, because we talk about geography sometimes on the show. But my problem is this laptop of mine, the screen is broken. It's cracked. So I can't trust it to sort of zoom in and out. I don't have a mouse element to it. And I used my phone, and I played him one-on-one on my phone, but he's like, that's really hard, and I lost.
Yeah.
So I've got the New York Times puzzles. I've got the Slate puzzle, and hockey's just the one I'm doing. But if I found my way to a baseball or football one, I would be doing that all the time. This is what I do now.
It's consuming. Yes.
I just do these puzzles all the time.
Well, you're
Maps
you're
and
doing them
puzzles.
for 2 because I haven't. The only one I did was the one we did in here. That wasn't even a real one. Oh well, no, we did a real one, and we had a terrible time with it when Tony Esposito was our goalie. But we did the Sabre one, which wasn't a real one. But I've not gone looking on my own for one. I did take a run at Trapasso's got a little draft game that he's got up.
Yes.
And I did one of those and got a really good grade. And I meant to text him and tell him, and I retweeted it.
What is the premise?
It's picking guys from you get a certain round in a team all time, basically, like 4th round picks for the Colts.
Oh.
And I think, and maybe it's eras too, but you get teams. And then it'll spit out a list of 6 players or 8 players, and you got to pick who you think might be the best one, and you get graded on it. And there were a few, like we get in the 7th round, like, well, at least I've heard of that guy, so maybe that's the. And I got A- on my first try, so I felt.
Well, he knows you,
right? He was watching. Okay,
of course, you're going to get a good grade.
Right.
I'll try that. I don't want to be tested on what round anybody was picked in. So if it's going to tell me.
No, you don't have to. Yeah, it gives you, again, a list of choices for each selection.
See, I'm playing this hockey one. You can do it with stats. I'm playing it without stats because I feel like I should know the difference, like who the great players of the different decades are and that. But that one I would need, a little bit more help. So that's a cool idea, though. Next up, Dan Leberfeld joins us. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
Buffalo Bills wrapping up mandatory minicamp today. Do stay tuned. Sal Capaccio is going to join the show at 5 for the latest on today. But following this afternoon, the Bills are going to have the next 48 days off until the start of training camp. And for more on this week, Sal Capaccio does have pieces up at our website, WGR550.com. And in other football news, Broncos, they're signing head coach Sean Payton to a new 5-year deal, as Payton had just 2 years remaining on his current contract. Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final is tonight with puck drop at 8 o'clock. Carolina hosts Las Vegas. That series is tied 2-2. Brandon Bussi does expect to be the starter in net for Carolina, but Freddie Anderson is available after he was seen skating this morning. Coverage of Game 5 will be right here on WGR about a half hour before puck drop at 7:30. Also going on today, the 2026 World Cup is underway, and we are at halftime for the first game. Mexico leads South Africa 1-0. That game is actually a rematch of the opener from the 2010 World Cup when South Africa hosted that tournament. Game 2 today is going to be at 10 o'clock. South Korea take on Czechia, while the United States, they'll get their tournament started tomorrow night when they take on Paraguay. And in baseball, Bison's home tonight versus Syracuse. First pitch at 6:35. That game can be heard on our sister station, the Bet 1520. And then in the majors, the Mets, they just wrapped up their game against St. Louis, winning 5-4. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for West New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I don't think that's a very good attitude.
It's Mike Schopp.
You don't think? You don't think? I don't think you should be butting in when I'm talking to my team. You're my assistant, okay? You're supposed to back me up and go get me juice boxes when I tell you. Now go get me a juice box. You know who you're talking to.
It's the Bulldog.
I'm talking to the juice box guy. You're crazy. I'm not crazy. I'm just thirsty. Why don't you go to hell? No, you go to hell. While you're there, why don't you grab me a juice box? I'm no juice box boy, I'll tell you that. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. Yes, you
It's
are.
Mike
I'm not.
Schopp
You
and the
are. No, I'm
Bulldog
not.
on WGR Sports Radio 550.
Welcome back. Our guest now on the Wester Hotline is no stranger to these airwaves. How do you like that, Bulldog? I got airwaves in to the show today. Dan Leberfeld, longtime friend of ours at Jets Whispers, Jets Confidential magazine. I often catch Dan Saturday mornings or afternoons on satellite radio with Vic. On my saved channels, Dan, you're right between the Fantasy Station and Howard Stern.
Not bad. I appreciate that. It's always great to be on Weathersfield.
Wait, first, that's a little bit of a shot. First Trista with her Rochester thing, and now Dan. They're coming for us.
Weathersfield, Buffalo. Yeah, all right. Yeah. Thanks for paying attention to the legal ID, Dan. We like that about you.
Bulldog wants to ask.
No problem.
Yeah.
Bulldog wants to ask you about the Knicks.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you like what your experience is like and what the city is like. I mean, it just seems like such a phenomenon. We just went through, not that the Knicks have been a stranger to the playoffs for a long time, but we know it's been a very long time since they've been in the spot they're in now in the finals. We had a rebirth with hockey here and like watch parties all over the place, and it just got really wild when the Sabres finally made the playoffs. I was wondering how you're experiencing this Knicks run, if you are at all, Dan.
Well, it's absolutely huge here. I'm not the biggest NBA fan, but just walking around, whether it's the city or here in New Jersey, the people have definitely caught the fever. The Knicks have an enormous fan base in the tri-state area, and everywhere you go, you see mobs of people in New York City with Knicks shirts on. And after one of the games, I had the unfortunate pleasure of driving on 9th Avenue right when a Knick game ended, and the people were flying out of the bars and getting in their pickup trucks, waving flags. It is a huge thing. It's hard to even quantify how big the Knicks are here.
Very cool. And last night was that times something, itself, just the comeback. And now we're in the finals, one win away from their first title since 1973. To the Jets, the Bills are wrapping up their mandatory minicamp section of the offseason today. Is that the same for the Jets? Are the Jets done or close to it or what?
No, the Jets actually have their mandatory minicamp next week,
Okay.
which I'm a proponent of from an NFL league-wide standpoint. Have it as late as you can so that gap isn't as huge, that ridiculous gap that many people are critical of. Even the union, the Western New York leader of the union, the former center Treader, has been critical of that. Why would you have a gap? You have off-season training where players are getting in great shape under the guidance of team strength and conditioning coaches. Also, there's a lot of classroom work, learning the playbook, updates to the playbook, new playbooks with new coaching staffs. And then they're off for 5 weeks where they can lose some of the conditioning and lose some of the mental gains they made. It makes very little sense. I understand the onus is on the players to keep their head in the playbook and stay in the weight room. But still, that gap makes very little sense when you compare it to other sports which have their camps that flow right into the season. I think the Jets are doing a smart thing, having it as late as possible. I don't know what difference 4 weeks or 5 week gap is, but at least they're reducing the gap a little bit.
And the Bills are off for 7 weeks after today, 48 days to be precise, so even longer. So
yeah, it doesn't make a ton of sense, but it is what it is, and it doesn't look like it's changing unless something changes in the CBA as far as a lot of rules are concerned. And Mr. Treader from your neck of the woods is going to really fight to the finish against the NFL. That's the kind of guy he is.
This is J.C. Treader, former lineman.
Browns
Akron, I believe Akron, New York. Am I not mistaken there?
I don't know, actually. It's not Wethersfield. I don't know. Dan, so Aaron Glenn gets another kick at it this season with the Jets, at least at the beginning, probably the whole year. What do you think? I think we've talked about this, but, with now into the offseason, looking ahead to year 2 for him, what do you think of the chances that it works out for him? How much blame, I guess, do you think he deserved for last year? What about Glenn coming back?
Well, I think that there was no way he was ever going to be fired. He was only 1 year into a 5-year deal, probably in the neighborhood of $10 to $11 million a year. I know NFL owners, you look at Mark Davis, how many contracts that he's still paying from fired coaches and GMs. I just don't think the Jets were going to go down that same road as the Raiders and some other teams firing a coach after 1 year. Obviously, the New England Patriots did that in recent history with Gerard Mayo. I just don't see it being that short a window for Aaron Glenn. Now, if they have another bad year, I think he'd be in a lot of trouble. But when you look at it, I think to his credit, he learned from a lot of mistakes, at least on paper. We won't know everything in regards to him learning from mistakes until they play actual games and we see how he manages the games and handles his timeouts and substitutions and the X's and O's. But as far as the roster and the coaching staff, he certainly learned his lesson. They have really turned over this roster, and the hiring of Frank Reich, who's so popular in your neck of the woods, one of the best moves in the offseason. I'm talking about player signings by teams or coaching additions by teams. He's right out of central casting for what they need to run their offense, which was a dumpster fire last year. As far as Frank's ability to be a master chess player, calling offensive plays, and also not just that, being a really good bench coach for Aaron Glenn, being a guy who's coached at 3 different places as a head coach, if you consider Stanford as well last year, obviously the Indianapolis Colts and Carolina Panthers as a head coach. And we know how selfless Frank is as a human being. So this isn't a guy who came in here saying, wow, the coach is on the hot seat, is in trouble. I can get in there and he'll be fired after 4 or 5 games if they get off to an 0-5 start, and I'll be a head coach again. Frank's not wired that way. You guys know him pretty well. He is in here to fix the offense and to help Aaron Glenn as a sounding board. So great hire in terms of Frank Reich. And I look at their defense, and I really like what the general manager, Darren Muji, did this offseason. Instead of spending a ton of money on 2 or 3 high-ticket, high-price free agents, big ticket is what I was looking for there, he went out and added tremendous depth. One of the problems for the Jets defense last year was when they had to go to the backups on the D-line, and we know how much teams rotate, there was such a precipitous drop-off to the backups that teams were just destroying them when their backups came in. Teams were destroying them when their starters was in, but it was worse when the backups were in. Guys, they have such great depth on defense now that they really, really have a nice two deep now, so I think they can withstand injuries better than last year. The schedule's not that challenging. Once again, I probably say this every year, I think they can hang around till late November, early December, and at least compete for a wild card spot with this roster. But you've probably heard me say that before, so I don't know how much credibility I have saying that.
Yeah. First of all, real quick, good job on Treader. Born in Batavia, New York, attended Akron Central High School. So you had that. Yeah, I'm looking at their depth chart here, the Jets on defense, and I count 8 new names in the starting column. That's an overhaul, man. Like that is a wrecking ball.
Yeah, absolute wrecking ball. And their run defense up the middle was horrific last year. You guys saw that in that meaningless game against the Buffalo Bills to wrap up the season, where the Buffalo Bills had 4 backup offensive linemen playing. And Ray Davis is a terrific player, not taking anything away from him. And he's obviously got a great story in terms of his life and what he's overcome. But Ray Davis had a career game that game, and he is the backup running back. I know he could start for some teams, but right now he is the backup to Cook. And, man, he looked fantastic behind a line with 4 backup linemen in it. I mean, that's one of those jump the shark moments for a defense. So they go out and get Tavondre Sweat, a 366-pound nose tackle in a trade with the Tennessee Titans. They signed another really good defensive tackle, David Onyemata, who was with the Atlanta Falcons last year. Not a household name, but a really good run defender. David Bailey in the first round in the draft to improve their pass rush. Demario Davis at linebacker to be the traffic cop to lead the defense. This defense, I'm not saying it's going to be top 5 in the league, but I can guarantee you it's going to be a lot better than last year. The personnel is a lot better, and the depth is a lot better.
With Dan Leberfeld here on WGR, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. Davis, if I remember right, also had a big-ish game against the Jets at night in New York his rookie year when Cook missed. It's like the only game Cook has missed here in a couple of seasons. Dan, what about the Geno Smith idea? I mean, if you're going to go there, you probably want to at least think about, you're talking about hanging around into like November, December. You want to be able to do that with a quarterback like this. This is not, a rookie, somebody just sort of a throw-in thinking about the 2027 draft or anything like that, which they might be doing. But I like Geno, and he's not been bad at all for the balance of the last 3-4 seasons. What are your expectations for him?
Yeah, at first I wasn't that high on the move, but the more I looked into it, I've warmed up to it, because when you look at it from this standpoint, when he was the 3-year full-time starter with the Seattle Seahawks from 2022 to 2024, his records were 9-8, 8-7, 10-7. Jets have not made the playoffs in 15 years, and they haven't had a winning record in a decade. So they would absolutely sign up for any of those seasons that Geno Smith had in Seattle. He's the quintessential game manager. He needs things around to be going well. Good offensive line, good running game, good weapons, a defense that keeps the score down. And I think he can have that here with the New York Jets in 2026. Last year in Las Vegas, was a train wreck. There's no way around it. But that team in its entirety was a train wreck, and it wasn't the kind of requisite supporting cast that Geno Smith needs to have success. The left tackle, Colton Miller, was out the whole year, and that really, really hurt that offense. They were playing backup left tackles, and very few teams in the NFL have a left tackle in the number 2 spot who you can hold up with. You have those freakish starting left tackles, and then there's a huge drop-off usually to the backup. I don't know who the backup to Deion Dawkins is in Buffalo, but usually it's not pretty when the backup left tackle comes in. So I'm going to give Geno a pass for last year. I just think that if they can get the Seattle Geno Smith with Frank Reich manufacturing production, and that's a term I've fallen in love with the last few months, when you have one of those really good chess player offensive coordinators like Clint Kubiak was last year with Sam Darnold, They manufacture production, meaning they dial up plays for guys that might not be full progression readers, where the first and second read is an easy throw. You see this in college a lot, and the guy can matriculate the team down the field. But when you have – the Jets had a rookie offensive coordinator last year who had never called plays on the NFL level, and he wasn't able to help Justin Fields last year. Now, Justin Fields, you could argue whether he's a starting NFL quarterback. You could have that debate. But the OC didn't help him. And I think Frank Reich is one of those manufacturer production play callers like Clint Kubiak was with Darnold and like Ben Johnson was with Caleb Williams last year in Chicago, where he really helps the quarterback out by seeing the game through the quarterback's eyes and helping him drive the team downfield, not putting the total onus on I'm calling this play, come hell or high water, you execute it. I think Frank's really going to help Geno, and I think they can get that Seattle Geno, and I think they'd be happy with that.
You mentioned the trouble protecting Geno last year in Vegas. How about that with the Jets here, Dan? Because this, I've mentioned a couple times when the Jets have come up, like if you can get behind Geno as an idea, the skill position guys, I kind of like the group. The tight ends are pretty interesting. Breece Hall's excellent. Garrett Wilson's excellent. I liked Omar Cooper Jr. in the draft. We'll see. Even Adonai Mitchell, had some moments. So what are the chances they can keep Geno functioning upright?
Yeah, I think the line was very good over the second half of last year. Early in the year, they were not on the same page, which is often the case with NFL offensive lines, because when you talk to former linemen in the league, they'll tell you that you need to get that work in the offseason. Now, it's not full contact, obviously, in the summer, but they feel like the cutback on spring and summer practices has really hurt offensive line continuity. So when you see early in the year teams sending stunts and twists and blitzes, and these linemen are not on the same page, I think a lot of it has to do with limited reps in the offseason. So they got better as the season went on. The line looks really good on paper when you look at the two first-round offensive tackles in Membu and Fashanu. And then you look inside. Joe Tippmann, the former center, has really taken to the right guard spot. Josh Myers was a pleasant surprise at center last year. The only question mark is they lost two left guards in free agency, Elijah Barrett-Tucker, who signed with New England, and John Simpson, who signed with the Baltimore Ravens. So they're going with Dylan Parham, who actually played with Geno last year with the Raiders. People have mixed reviews on his skill set. So we'll see what he does that. So keep an eye on the left guard spot and Parham and his performance. But you're right. The skill positions, they're deep there. When you look at the fact that you have Garrett Wilson and you have Omar Cooper, who is a rookie but wise beyond his years, when you talked to very mature, learned a lot from Signetti, a good culture builder, and he brings that to the Jets. So Cooper, Wilson, Adonai Mitchell, who was acquired in a trade with the Colts last year in the Sauce Gardner trade, which brought back 2 first-round picks, and Mitchell. Mitchell is a guy with an exotic size-speed ratio, like 6'2", 210, runs under 4'4", so he's got an exciting skill set. Tim Patrick is a player they signed a couple weeks ago. Don't sleep on him. The former Denver Bronco, who was turning into a star receiver out there, and then he had an injury nightmare happen with a torn ACL one year and then Achilles the next. The Broncos had paid him big dollars before he got hurt. He's a good receiver. So that receiver room is very deep. The tight end room, look at that with Mason Taylor and Jeremy Ruckert and Kenyon Sadiq, the first-round pick out of Oregon, who's sidelined right now after a minor groin procedure. But this is a guy who's 6'3", 240, runs 4.39. Omar Cooper ran 4.52. So that shows you how fast this tight end, and I know Frank Reich is so excited to move this guy around. He's the kind of guy who could play in the slot, on the outside, as a fullback. So Sadiq is a weapon Frank is quite excited about. So, and then you talk about Breece Hall, running back. So there's no shortage of weapons in this Jets offense.
I am not usually pretty tough to get to some optimism for the Jets. Much like yourself, perhaps, Dan, talking about hang around in the schedule. I'm sort of Mr. Jet over here. Mm-hmm. And I'm
every year. Dan.
I'm hearing you. I'm feeling you on these names. In fact, one name that you mentioned and talked about, so I'm in a draft, Bulldog, with Davis Maddock right now, a best ball draft, and we drafted Garrett Wilson, and we drafted Geno to go with him. and I suggested we draft Omar Cooper, right? Because you kind of want to stack these things. And he says, no, I think Mitchell is better. So then Mitchell would have to, beat out a high draft pick, and that's going to be tough because he's on a new team here, but he's been there. It's just like he doesn't maybe have the same sort of like backing of the coaching staff or the organization, perhaps. But what do you think of that take, Dan, that Mitchell might outplay Cooper this year?
Well, I think they like Mitchell. I don't think they're head over heels in love where they're going to have confirmation bias with him. Remember, he was kind of a throw-in in that Sauce Gardner deal. The two first-round picks were the selling point for the Jets, and they threw in Mitchell, who was kind of on the outs in Indianapolis. So he was thrown in. He's a good player, but he really doesn't have a leg up on Cooper because they're once again putting in a new offense. We talked about Frank Reich before. So they were both starting from square one, learning this offense. So there's no real advantage here other than the fact that Mitchell's been around a little bit. But, man, has he been in a lot of different offenses, so his head must be spinning. But you'll appreciate the quote that he used when I asked him about being in so many different offenses. I asked Mitchell that. He said, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. How many NFL players, quote, Nietzsche, is that how you pronounce it? I'm going to ask Mike. Not the Bulldog would know, but I know Mike is.
I feel like he's quoting
much more intellectual than we are.
Hey, I hang out at a place called Nietzsche's.
I think he's quoting Kelly Clarkson.
Just so you know.
Okay.
I think he's quoting Kelly Clarkson.
I think that might be right too. I don't know. You got to worry about those two. I think Mitchell's an outside guy. I think Cooper should be a slot guy, right? So
see that you read my mind, Bulldog. Before I got into my shtick there, I was going to get into the if you have a rim shot machine ready. By the way, speaking of shtick, I was expecting to take it on the chin for my Mike and the Bulldog tweet, but you guys took the high road.
I didn't see it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean we've been down that.
No, we know.
We've been down that road.
We know how you roll, Dan. Yeah,
right. Honestly, I was trying to help you downstate. I really feel like you guys are probably the best sports talk show in the state of New York now. I'm being serious. And when I say the fan in New York isn't what it used to be, I don't want to use that in regards to the compliment because it sounds like a backhanded compliment. But I do think so. I'm trying to help you downstate. People listen online, and when I say Mike and the Bulldog, people are like, wait a minute, the Mike and the Mad Dog thing. So I was trying to do some marketing for you downstate.
Thank you.
But getting back to the receiver thing. You're absolutely right, Bulldog. Omar Cooper was primarily a slot receiver last year for the Indiana Hoosiers. He's very good in the slot, and Adonai Mitchell's an outside guy. And here's another thing, watching the minicamp, not to give away too much of what you see there, but this guy, the league, who their team MVP was last year? This is how, once again, I want to do a backhanded compliment, but this was their returner, was the team MVP. Isaiah Williams, the kick and punt returner, was the team MVP. And watching in the spring, he's also a really, really good slot receiver. So with Cooper, while they like him a lot and he's going to play a lot, they also love Isaiah Williams. And if Cooper's in the slot splitting time with Isaiah Williams, I'm just trying to help you with your fantasy team. I think they like Cooper a lot, but I think he could be in the slot platooning with Isaiah Williams. So
gotcha.
Just something to chew on.
It's a tough situation when the kick returner, punt returner is the team MVP. There's probably drought years here in the Bills' past where Brian Moorman might have been that for the Bills. Or at least people would say, like, he's my favorite player or something. It would just be like, come on.
How about the Heisman? Didn't the Heisman Trophy winner go to that school? He wasn't the team MVP? Mendoza?
No, he's talking about the Jets last year.
Oh, okay.
The Jets last
year,
not Indiana.
Isaiah Williams, the slot receiver who's going to platoon with Cooper in the slot. Isaiah Williams was the Jets MVP last year.
Okay.
Kick and punt returner.
Right. That makes sense that Bulldog would mention Mormon. Breece Hall, before you go, real quick. Breece Hall signed. He was sort of cryptic in his social media stuff. Do what you want with that. He ends up getting paid. Is he going to be 3 downs at this point, or is Braylon Allen interesting? What about the backfield, real quick?
Yeah, Braylon Allen, I don't know if you saw that nugget the other day, 250 pounds now, 6'1", 250, very little fat. Look, I'm 5'11", 170. I got a bigger gut than that guy does. I mean, that guy, and he said he didn't try to gain the weight. It just came on naturally. He's 23 years old. So, you're going to have that thunder and lightning kind of thing there. He's going to be the short yardage backup. Brees Hall is a 3-down back. Allen will platoon once in a while, but it's mainly the whole show. This is a guy who's obviously one of the better backs in the league, but also an unbelievable receiver, guys. He's got the hands of a top-shelf receiver, the ball-tracking skills of a top-shelf receiver. So Frank Reich's going to love this guy. They're going to throw to him a ton. Yeah, it'll be the Brees Hall show at running back, but Allen in short yardage situations at 250 now, that'll be part of the scheme as well.
Thank you, Dan, as always. Stay out of Midtown Manhattan
on game nights, at least.
On game nights the rest of this for the next few days, I would say. Probably stay away from that area.
I think I will, and it's always great to be on the West Her hotline.
Yes. Thank you, Dan. Talk to you soon again.
Wonderful.
Bye-bye.
All right, you got it.
Real quick before we're going to get to a break, and we'll have Sal coming up here in just about 40 minutes, but I want to read a tweet that went out from Sal just as we were starting our conversation with Dan. The Bills have waived cornerback Dorian Strong with an injury designation. He's expected to miss the 2026 season with the neck injury he suffered last year. This is procedural, writes Sal. Once he clears waivers, assuming he does, he will be placed on IR. So very tough news for a Bills draft pick that had some promise last year in the summer and just never got off the ground.
As Bulldog said, more on that with Sal in a little while. Lines open at 803-0550. Thanks for being with us. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
The Buffalo Bills wrapping up mandatory minicamp today. We'll talk with Sal Capaccio in just about a half hour at 5 p.m. for the latest on today. That does include, though, some of the roster moves made by the Bills, and that is headlined by cornerback Dorian Strong having been waived with an injury designation. He is expected to miss the 2026 season with a neck injury he suffered last season, though this is considered a procedural move, and if he does clear waivers, he'll be placed on IR. Other news around the league, the Broncos are signing head coach Sean Payton. It's a new 5-year deal for him. Payton did have 2 years remaining on his current contract. And coming up later tonight, Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final at 8 p.m. Carolina hosts Las Vegas. That series is tied at 2-2, and all signs pointing to Brandon Bussey getting the start in net tonight for Carolina. But Freddie Anderson is available after skating earlier this morning. Coverage of Game 5 going to be right here on WGR, starting about a half hour before the game starts at 7:30. Over to the World Cup. Game number 1 is into the second half. Mexico does lead South Africa 1-0, and South Africa, they are down to 10 men following a red card near the start of the second half. Game 2 is tonight at 10. South Korea taking on Czechia, and the U.S., they are going to get their tournament started tomorrow night when they take on Paraguay. That's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
TJ Park. I'll tell you one thing, I seen him on film the other day chasing the running back, and I said, who the heck is that matching the running back step for step? And I was like, oh, he a cheat code. As the more I start to watch film and, learn my teammates and start to watch them do, and everybody in the league freaky in their own way. And he was chasing the running back, and I was like, he really matching him step for step. So that's just one of the things that he's just explosive, fast, a young kid. I don't know the extent of what his role is going to be this year, but I'm happy to play with him.
Ed Oliver. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Sal Capaccio in half an hour. 803-0550 for your calls. We spent some time on the Knicks. Dan Leberfeld doesn't appreciate, and this is not a criticism, that we are not Mike and the Bulldog. My last name enters the scene.
The fray, yeah.
Usually, if not always. So it's funny to him and his followers that we're almost Mike and the Mad Dog, but
right.
We are not the Mad Dog, and we're really not Mike and the Bulldog either.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't.
Schopp and the Bulldog is.
That's why I don't play with him on that.
Yeah.
Because it's not exactly right.
Yeah. I mean, if he really wanted to lean into it, he could have tweeted, "I'm going to be on with Mike and the dog."
Yeah.
That would
like Peter King would say.
Right.
He did say that once.
Yes.
We had audio of it. Yes. Let me tell you, it was Schopp and the dog, wasn't it? Yeah. Let me tell you a little bit about Schopp and the dog.
Winnipeg?
Yeah.
Sorry. All right. Non sequitur city here.
It's not too hot to talk Sabres, is it?
Ain't going to be ever too hot to talk Sabres,
okay, good.
in my opinion, this offseason.
Alex Tuck is gone, right?
Probably, yes. Probably. But I still think that everything you've been hearing about the separation, it's been pretty consistent. But I said this last week, and I'll say it again, as we're another week closer, that it's in the players' best interest and their agents' best interest to get the word out. I think if you want to stay, and you want to try to drive the price up any way you can, and maybe there's some pressure that comes if everyone's talking about it all the time or whatever. I don't know. I still think the deadline could come and he could at the last minute just take the best offer the Sabres have, because he never really wanted to leave. It wasn't in his heart. His wife really likes it here. Whatever. I don't know. I don't want to close the door entirely on that. He will be offered, if he goes to the market, more money somewhere else. There's almost no question about that. So if that's what it ends up being all about, and that's not, I'm not being judgmental by saying that. Like, if that's the path he goes, then yeah, I think he's probably gone. But I think there's still, to me, hope that he just is trying to get the best deal he can for himself while never really wanting to leave. And if that's the case, then we could get kind of like, you remember Stamkos? How many years ago was that? And we were hot and heavy about Stamkos. He's going to get to the market. He's going to get to the market. He's near, the family's nearby. Like, that might be compelling. It's not Toronto, but, maybe Buffalo. And then on June 30th, nope, not going anywhere. Staying 7 years, whatever it was, stayed in Tampa. That's similar. I mean, Tuch is not Steven Stamkos, a legendary cup-winning captain, but he was a kingpin guy on that team, and it seemed like he was going to go to market. He was the number one target in free agency, and at the last minute he stayed. So I think that could still happen, but the most likely scenario is he's going to get a huge 7-year contract somewhere else for maybe $12 million a year and be gone.
Well, I'll say the line, I'm gullible. So I am basing my expectations here on these. It's often the case that the insiders all report the same thing, which, isn't a bad thing because that might be a sign that it's accurate. Like they're all getting the same information and saying the same thing. But it's more than just, to my eyes and ears, it's more than just the objective aspect that apparently the Sabres don't want to get to Tuch's request, as has been seemingly the case for months. I mean, going back well into the season. There's more language to these reports than just that. And that's also how I found, and we talked about it, Kekalainen to be when he talked about Tuch a couple of different times at a press conference and then in a radio interview. He's saying a little bit more, I think, and then I think that comes through in Elliott and Pierre LeBrun and the like. I think he's saying a little bit more than, look, we'd love to get this done, but sometimes you can't. And I think maybe he doesn't want to do it. And, there's a number that he would do it at, but it seems that it's not close to what Tuch thinks he can get. So what is that even to say about the Sabres' interest in keeping Tuch? It's really not. It's like a token effort. And I don't think I want to blame them, but that's what it sounds like to me is like, we're not slamming the door on him, but we know how far apart our idea is from his. And then, sort of what's the point when it's like that? You think I'm right?
Well, I would tell you not to be so hard on yourself for being. I mean, it's a bit of your brand. You're gullible. I think in this instance, I'm the one who's being gullible because I'm the one over here talking about the hokey hometown, all that. Like that's more gullible than the cold-blooded reality of big-time pro sports, where we're talking about a difference of $10 million over the lifetime of a contract. Maybe like it's a lot of dough. So it's easy to sit on the sideline and say how much money do you need. So I think my explanation there of what could still happen is more gullible than what you're suggesting, which is mostly reading the room, which there's every reason to think the guy's going to walk. I think right now. The other little nugget I'll throw in again, because I just thought of it while you were talking there, because the Sabres have seemingly been at whatever number they're at, and the gap has not ever really been bridged at all. Effectively, you're right. The reporting has been consistent going back into like February, I think, on this. Is that Kekalainen? Sure, he sounds like he sounds, and I agree. He sounds like someone who is trying to prepare the fan base to lose a player that they really like and want on the team, a very good player and an important player. So that's I think the right read too. He also though could know by July 1st whether he's going to be able to pull another big move to replace him. And if that doesn't come to fruition, if for some reason, whatever number of deals he might have irons in the fire on, he gets beat at the table and has to fold, that could change the Sabres' position. I'm not here to tell you that that's great process. And I don't know, Tuch maybe could end up offended. Maybe the way Drury eventually was when, it took you how long? Now you're coming with the deal I would have took, that kind of thing. But they could pivot to, we couldn't get Robert Thomas and we couldn't trade for Matthew Nyes and we couldn't, whatever grab bag you want to talk about of ideas that are out there. And those ideas are all out there and being written about. he can't pull something off that he feels suitably replaces him, then, well, I was willing to go to 9.5, but how does 10.5 strike you? Because I don't want to take a step back, and if I've missed my window to get a suitable replacement or replacements for Alex Tuch, then maybe I got to just kind of suck it up and live with the contract that I didn't want to do a month ago.
I suppose. Not to push back on that, I think you would agree with this. I see Kekalainen as somebody that has a lot of confidence in himself. And what can he or can he not do in a trade market? You're talking about a scenario where he has his answer by the end of June and then maybe makes a move on Tuch. But before that, I think he's somebody that can get people to say yes. He seems like he might have that trait. And, man, that's a good trait. We've had GMs that did not have that.
I hope that's right. I mean, his first kick at it in the winter was Colton Parayko, and that didn't work.
Well, they said yes to the deal.
Oh, sure.
The Blues said
that
yes.
part, but get the player to say yes is the the tricky part.
And if you make that deal, and however it got out, without even yet having the consent of the player, all the more reason to think that we'll get this done. I mean, I'm not worried. I think he's got a lot of confidence in himself. And what I've been saying about the Tuch situation is, apart from how much confidence he has, if he's doing his job, which I would assume he is, he's got contacts everywhere. Some probably have been contacts of his for many years, and has been working on ideas. This is still the Blues, perhaps, or maybe it's every team. Here are the possibilities. He would know all that by now. Maybe somewhere there's a board over there that has every team and like every player or just be on a file or something where you'd have a base knowledge of their availability, and you'd already know your own interest in the player. What I want to have happen, nothing against the idea of keeping Tuch, is for this GM, a real GM, to have that figured out and be able to find his way to a player. He's got assets. Find his way to a player who is younger, that he thinks is the right fit and can produce almost to the same extent, if not to the same extent. Maybe he won't be 6'4". And he wants that too. And that's how he acted at the deadline, going out and getting size like he did. But it just every passing day makes it seem that they're just not close on him. It does remind me of like Drury.
Yeah.
A lot of these other ones over the last decade haven't meant anything. Just all right. And even last year, I'd have to admit, signing Zucker and maybe someone else. There was someone else. Greenway?
Yep.
Like, why bother when you're here? But the Sabres were rewarded for that. That's Adams. The Sabres were rewarded for keeping what they had together. And, if not Greenway, Zucker paid them off with a very good season.
Let me just color. We're got to get to a break here. Just all the way into the lines here. I mentioned Nyes. I don't want to get people. I don't want to irresponsibly get people excited. Like there's been a lot of reporting about a trade that almost got to the finish line at the deadline involving Nyes with Montreal, Toronto, and Montreal, and the paperwork was late and it didn't happen. And I just want to at least mention, it's possible he still gets traded. It's also possible that the GM at the time, Treliving, was like flailing around in a life preserver fighting for his life and might have done something really reckless, like trade an excellent big 23-year-old two-way forward who's certainly he's got Tuch's production in his future if he's not already there. Nice. Like, I love this player. He's under contract till 2031, 7.5 or 7.75 is the number. 23 years old. I mean, that's the guy you describe when you're saying go find a guy that replaces him, that's younger and cheaper, and like there it is. And that would be an excellent move. I just don't know that the new leadership in Toronto is going to be eager to trade him. I think the guy that was running the show before was on his last legs, and it's probably great for Toronto that they didn't get that trade done.
And that would cost you somebody significant.
It's going to cost you a lot. Yeah, it should. if he's on the market, like that is tough. It's the division, whatever. They were going to turn into Montreal. That's plug and play. Excellent replacement.
Ooh, that would be fun as a GM to try to capitalize on another GM you think is lame duck. I mean, it's serious business over here. Oh, you're quitting the league? Well, maybe I can get a good deal off of you.
Right.
What will it take? What can I throw in? How can I sweeten this offer? We'll see. Sal Capaccio coming up in just more than 15 minutes. Talking Bills, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR. That'll be coming up in 10 minutes. Sal? Mexico 2, South Africa 0 and 2 men down in the waning moments of the World Cup opener. Shouldn't the managers, and I will say I don't know if this is not the case with these teams we're watching, but shouldn't all World Cup managers be from the country they're coaching?
Ooh, yeah, that's definitely not the case.
Not even U.S.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to go with no.
Doesn't bother you?
No, it doesn't bother me.
The players are all from that country, right?
I think that's a rule, yeah. That I'm pretty sure of, yeah.
Pulisic just can't play for France if he wants.
Right.
His father played indoor in Harrisburg, one of his stops. I think he was later in Rochester, too, maybe in management there, but I've never met him. He was a player for the Harrisburg Heat.
I was going to ask you what was the name of the...
And that was my first game as the announcer for the Blizzard, was at the Harrisburg State Farm Show Arena.
All right.
Which is another story. It's a funny story. But he was on the field, I believe, that night. And of course, how am I going to... There's a kid involved.
I can't wait
here.
until your son is born and becomes one of the greatest American soccer stars ever.
Yeah, right. I think his name was Mark. And I have that tape somewhere from my
really?
first game.
Wow. Awesome.
I mean, a tape. Has the show ever sounded older?
Right.
A tape.
Wow.
Oh, I have a funny story about a tape. Later, I'll tell you off the air. If not, also on the air. I have to decide whether it's worth it. Sal Capaccio next on WGR.
Chippy play in the first game of the 2026 World Cup. We'll get to that here in just a moment. Starting off, though, the Bills wrapping up mandatory minicamp today. We're going to talk with Sal Capaccio coming up next for the latest on what was heard from today. And then there was also some roster news. Cornerback Dorian Strong has been waived with an injury designation, and our own Sal Capaccio is reporting that Strong is expected to miss the 2026 season with a neck injury he suffered last year. This is considered a procedural move, and if Strong does clear waivers, he's going to be placed on IR. Also going on in the NFL, the Broncos signing head coach Sean Payton to a new 5-year deal. Payton had 2 years remaining on his current deal. And then going on later on tonight, Game 5, Stanley Cup Finals at 8 o'clock. Carolina hosts Las Vegas. That series is tied 2-2. Brandon Bussey expected to get the start in net for Carolina tonight, but Freddie Anderson is available after skating this morning. Coverage of Game 5 going to be right here on WGR beginning at 7:30. Now to the World Cup. Just one game currently going on. It is the opener. Mexico is up 2-0 on South Africa. We're very late into the second half, into extra time, but 3 total red cards in the second half. South Africa down to 9 men, while Mexico is down to 10 men. Game 2 is going to come up much later on tonight at 10. South Korea takes on Czechia, while the U.S., they'll get their tournament started tomorrow night when they take on Paraguay. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for West New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
Welcome back. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Sal Capaccio on this occasion of the Bills. We'll use anything. On the Bills wrapping up mandatory minicamp. 48 days off after today. You know, we didn't talk about the Dan Leberfeld point about how much time there can be between the end of this and the start of that.
Right.
It'll be almost 7 weeks, though, Sal. And Dan was talking like 5 weeks is just a lot. I mean, he liked that the Jets have their mandatory practices later.
Next week, yeah.
So I don't know. Like, do you have a position on this? I don't think I have one.
No, I'd have to see some sort of actual analytics or numbers. Let's remember the Bills started earlier than the Jets. They started earlier than most teams because they have a new head coach. So while that's true, maybe the Jets are going later and other teams will go later. The Bills started on April 6th. Several teams didn't start until, I think the Jets will be included here, April 20th, 2 weeks later. So you're still getting a full, I think it's 10 weeks with a new coach, 9 weeks otherwise. Either way, somewhere in there. I don't know if there's a benefit either way. And I also would say every team would probably be different based on your roster and who you are and what those guys do.
Shouldn't the Jets actually be allowed to practice constantly? I mean, really? Let's just get them off the mat here.
Guys should have live-in coaches if you're on the Jets, maybe.
So Dorian Strong is the news here, Sal. Explain it to us.
So as you guys know, and Bills fans probably know that Dorian Strong suffered a neck injury in Week 4 last year. He was subsequently placed on injured reserve, had neck surgery. He missed the entire season. There's been a lot of talk about maybe, his career being in jeopardy and where he goes from here. We really haven't had a lot of clarity every time we've talked to Brandon Beane about it. Dorian Strong today, he has not participated in any OTAs, minicamp, nothing like that. Dorian Strong today was waived NFI. That's non-football injury. You could say, wait a minute, he got hurt in football.
Right.
Yes, but that was last year. It's NFI because it's a year later. He did not get hurt this year doing something during football. So they can put him on NFI that way. So he gets played. It's really just a technicality. But either way, it works the same as a football injury or regular injury reserve, to be honest with you, in a lot of ways. But
I'm glad you clarified that because that was a question I was going to have. Is like, how in the world did they put an NFI? You just said he got hurt in Week 4, but gotcha. All right, good.
100%. And I thought the same thing, and then you realize, well, it's last year. So it's a non-football injury because of that. So what happens now, because he's waived, he is subject to waivers. That's why the word is there. And any team in the NFL can claim him over the next 24 hours. They'd have to put him on their 90-man roster. Let's assume that's not going to happen. I mean, some team could do that and think maybe he'll rehab and he'll play for them. That could happen. Assuming he does not get claimed, he clears waivers, he reverts back to the Bills, and then the Bills will put him on actual injured reserve. And at that point, I would say it would be a reserve, with an injury designation. But either way, he'll go on injured reserve, and then his season will be over, and he will not count against the roster.
What are the odds he gets claimed? Very, very small?
Very small. I mean, a team would have to put him on their roster now and release somebody, and they could do that and just hold him, and then they could put him on injured reserve before the start of the season. So they could definitely do that and then see where it goes. I mean, in a case like this, though, a guy that's been with you and your doctors for over a year and going through this, I don't know if a team would want to bring that into their building and have to go through that again and all the different medical and testing that would have to go along with it. So I would assume no one's going to claim him, but you never say never in a league like this.
Yeah. So it obviously does not bode well for his future, but I guess I want to say it's possible he could just rehab through another season and try this again next spring.
Yeah, that's right. He could do that, and the team could do that, and it sounds like that's exactly what the plan is.
Yeah.
I mean, there's two parts of this, right? Number one, that could be the plan, Bulldog, from a football standpoint, which is we'll keep him on the roster. We'll keep, we'll go through the doctors, the procedures. Is there another procedures or not? Can he rehab? Can he play? And I think there's an element of just trying to do right by the kid. You
Right.
drafted him, and I think that means a lot with him and his family and all those kinds of things. So that's, probably a part of this where they'll keep him around. They'll keep him on the roster. He's a part of the team. He came in as a draft pick last year. He knows the guys, and I think it would be good for everybody in the organization to have him around the building.
And just one more thing on him. What's the upside? There was some excitement about this player. 6th-round pick as a rookie, though. Is he somebody that the Bills are, if it's a relative term here, but just like super serious about and optimistic for?
I mean, they were. I don't think you can be at this point. In fact, they drafted two guys. They drafted a guy in the second round, IGB. They drafted another guy in Toriano Pride. But Mike, this was a player that they were excited about. And in fact, I would compare a lot of what we hear about IGB right now, about the way they were talking about Dorian Strong as the season went on last year. And he wasn't a 2nd-round pick. He was a 6th-rounder, but he was noticeable, and he was getting on the field. He was physical, and they liked him. They liked his length, his physicality, a lot of what IGB is bringing now. And look what happened at the end of the year. And the corners, we know very well how much the corner position mattered as far as injuries were concerned. And that was one of the reasons, because a guy they had counted on that had played pretty well early in the season suddenly wasn't available to them. And that was a big deal. So, yeah, I would say not now, though. I doubt they're optimistic he can actually play now. But you make these moves, so who knows, maybe in the future that can happen.
Before we move on to the less newsier portion of our conversation here, there were accompanying moves. There were a couple of players signed, one of whom made maybe the play of the day yesterday.
Yeah, Devin Tompkins. Remember we talked about him? And I said to you guys, the play of the day was turned in by this guy, and he actually has some NFL wide receiver experience. He played for the Panthers and the Buccaneers and the Falcons on their practice squad. And yesterday he made a play where Shane Buechele saw him deep, put one a little bit too far, but he laid out. And he's not the biggest dude, and he just laid out, and he made a great catch, and everybody in the offensive sideline was like, oh, one of those kinds of deals. They were going crazy. And today he got signed to a contract, so good for him. And, I mean, maybe it was partly that catch. I'm sure that had something to do with it, and I think obviously – just looking at the roster and what they need, they not only signed him, but wide receiver Max Tomczak, who's very interesting to me because this is a guy that played at Youngstown State and he did really well there. This is Mike Tomczak's nephew, by the way. He signed with the Bills as an undrafted free agent. Week 2 of OTAs, I went out there and he wasn't there. And all of a sudden they waived him. I'm like, okay, well, he's not around anymore. Well, they brought him back and they signed him. They did also waive another undrafted free agent wide receiver, Gabriel Benyard. And then they also waived with an injury designation running back Desmond Reed. A lot of people were excited about him. He actually he's a good running back from Pitt who signed with the Bills as an undrafted free agent.
With Sal Capaccio, I think I saw from Sneaky Joe Tompkins, I'm not sure if it was the last pass, but the last yards of Tom Brady's NFL career regular season were passed to Tompkins.
Oh, wow.
Check out Joe's Twitter for the exact words on that stat. Sal, so Strong, and the injury was there, and I'm not sure if they had real expectations for him this year because of it. What is your view on the secondary as a whole. I feel like this could be anything. This answer could be anything. With Benford as strong as he's been, and Hairston off a rookie year where he was hurt a lot, like maybe you get the upside you wanted when you picked him in the first round. Bishop is young. Gardner Johnson is a name. So is Geno Stone, for that matter, as maybe depth. And then Igbinosun, you mentioned him already, second-round pick. Are you thinking that, I mean, there's some turnover here. Obviously, Taron Johnson is gone. Are you thinking that the secondary is a strength of the defense or of the team, or are there too many questions?
I think the top of the secondary can be very good. I really do. I like what I see a lot. I think that they pick kind of the right formula and players for what they want to do defensively. Thinking about Jim Leonard, his scheme, talking to players, watching C.J. Gardner-Johnson yesterday. I mean, guy's just an athlete. He makes plays. Knowing what Cole Bishop did last year, albeit he's injured right now, but, the ascension he was on, I really kind of like what they are building at safety. I like this Jalen Kilgore kid that they drafted a lot. I think he fits into exactly what they want to do there. On the outside, Christian Bedford, we know he's very, very good. I still think Max Hairston could be very good. We didn't see enough of him last year. Davison Igbinosun really is kind of the prototypical guy that Jim Leonard wants. He's spoken highly of, hey, we didn't have this kind of guy in the room. I love all that. I'm concerned about their depth, and I still wonder if they're going to add to that because injuries will happen. They do happen. We know that. Slot corner D. Alford, I think he kind of fits exactly what they want out of the slot. Not Taron Johnson anymore. Not going to play 90% of the snaps. You don't need a guy like that. We'll see what happens with Jordan Hancock. I think he's kind of slated to be more of the slot corner here. I just wonder what they do about depth because that's been such a talking point after last year. And even Brandon Beane said corner was their number one need. He didn't mean at the top of the roster. He meant overall. Yeah. They go out and they draft Davison Igbinosun. They draft Toriano Pride. Well, guys, I mean, think of their outside corners. Benford, Hairston, Igbinosun, and then it's Toriano Pride, Kari Walker, and Jordan Dunbar. Like, where's your fourth? Is that your fourth guy? Is Toriano Pride actually going to show up at camp and be a guy that can make the roster and help you? Maybe. I mean, he was drafted. That's possible. But that's where the Trey White discussion comes from, right? We did Always Game Day in Buffalo, Matt Bove and I, and Matt said, and I don't disagree, that he wouldn't be surprised if they go out and sign Tre'Davious White or even someone like him before training camp starts. And then even at safety for me, beyond Bishop and Gardner Johnson, I like Jalen Kilgore, but then you have Sam Franklin. Yes, he has NFL experience, but he's mostly a special teams player. And DeMar Hamlin, and I know, you guys know, I'll tell you, DeMar Hamlin can play. At least it gives you a baseline of a guy who understands the system, but this is a new system. Geno Stone, but I'd like to see a little bit more there.
It's a lot of names.
I know, you know, the beat reporters, the men and women who are out there watching, not like today, but like earlier in the week, sometimes there's scuttlebutt on the sidelines and things you guys in the media room might debate. How hot takey is it, and has it come up? You mentioned how Leonard has talked about Igbinosun. How much of a hot take is it to say you think he starts the opener? Because I'm leaning that way. It's not that they don't like Hairston. They're never going to say they don't like Hairston, but it wasn't for this scheme. And I really wonder. It just sounds to me like something it's something I'm on guard about, I guess. Not like I'm scared of it. I just mean like I'm sort of watching out for it.
I don't think it's hot takey. I've heard we've had these debates and talks. Where I fall is I wouldn't be surprised if IGB ultimately starts. I don't think it's that early over Max Hairston. I'd be surprised if that were the case. But is it possible? Sure. And I also think it would have to be because he really shows what he can do and not because Max Hairston necessarily falters because of what you said. It just fits a little better, right? The puzzle just fits a little bit more and better with a guy like Davison Igbinosun maybe than Max Hairston. Max Hairston has to prove he can stay healthy as well. But certainly there are people, I would say, that cover the team that would be of the same mindset as you, Bulldog, which is I wouldn't be surprised if this kid is starting week 1 over Max Hairston. I still need to see it. Yesterday there's a play yesterday where – so I don't know if I told you guys a couple of days ago, Keon Coleman catches a pass. Igbinosun kind of – wraps him a little bit, and Keon didn't appreciate it, so Keon tosses the ball at him. There's some pushing and shoving, right? Just kind of normal, football stuff, and they go back to their huddle. Well, then yesterday, I don't know if he did it on purpose, but Josh targeted Keon on a pass against Davison Igbinosun near the end zone, and it was one-on-one. And Igbinosun he got called for a penalty. There were officials on the field. There were officials actually, out there. So Keon turns around, he looks, the officials throw the flag, and I mean, Igbinosun was hot. He was hot, really hot, yelling at the officials, kind of, sort of like in a way, like not getting in their face yelling, but definitely very demonstrative in his reaction. And Khalil Shakir comes over. He's just pointing at the flag, looking at him, pointing at the flag. Like, this is a kid that is really, really competitive. He's got the juice that they love, but there's some growing pains there with anybody, right? I mean, it was interference. I was standing right there. Like, these are things that he's going to have to clean up. Remember, he had the holding penalty. So I just think if he can kind of make sure that he's in the moment and he's doing the things right technically he's supposed to be doing, I think he could compete for a starting job.
2 seasons ago, he had big penalty problems, and last year cleaned it up, right? That was the story on him.
That's exactly right. And the Bills love that about him because they said it meant that he took it serious enough to get better about it. And I like that, right? Like he said, I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen again. So when you look at the penalty numbers, which I believe were 21 total, 16 one year, or maybe 16 total, 12 one year and 4 the next. I think somewhere in there. He took it seriously enough to cut down on those, and the Bills said that was something that actually attracted them to him.
So they didn't stop practice and review it and have everybody just stand there
They
for
did
5
not
minutes?
stop practice and review it.
You can't review that play in mandatory minicamp.
No.
Not even in real games can you review that.
No, but I'll tell you guys, I mean, it also was another point of like this whole, one of the things that's really stuck out about all these OTAs and minicamps is these guys really kind of getting after each other, the offense and the defense, the C.J. Gardner-Johnson and, the way he barks, and Josh Allen, and, yesterday with Khalil Shakir pointing at that flag and looking at, Davis and Igbinosun and giving him that smile and smirk like, yep, there's the flag, pal. What are you going to do about it? It was just really interesting the last few weeks watching this all take place.
How is Brady different from McDermott so far when you watch him like run a practice, or whether he gets involved as much or less involved?
I don't know if it's more involved or less involved, except I would say more from this standpoint where I think Joe is almost like more constant of the high energy after every play, saying something, doing something, all those kinds of things. Sean would do it once in a while, but Sean would kind of let the practice play out, and then every once in a while you knew when Sean McDermott liked or didn't like something, right? Seems like Joe Brady likes or doesn't like something all the time, and he's letting you know about it, and usually in a good way, in a positive way with either side. But it's funny you say that because Matt Bove and I actually recorded another podcast today. He told a story, and I didn't know this. He told a story about how he talked to Connor McGovern and said to Connor McGovern, it's really interesting. He said that Joe Brady, from Matt's observation, that when the defense would make a play, that Joe would get super excited about it, even though he's standing maybe more near the offense. And he asked Connor, do you think he's doing that on purpose? And Connor said yes. So I think he is, and Connor said something to the effect of he thinks he's even doing it on purpose, like to Josh, like near Josh, so that Josh knows I'm the head coach, and I like that the defense just did that to you. I'm not your coordinator, position coach anymore.
Well, I wasn't there. It sounds a little bit like acting, but
that's a new relationship.
There's an element of that in that job, I'm sure. Well, this is the last Bills workday for a long time. What have we not covered? Not that we won't talk again between now and 7 weeks from now, but is there a story, Sal, that you can think of, a player, something about the makeup of the team that has gone under addressed?
There is one. I brought it up at the end of our podcast today because I was doing the same thing. I'm like, what have we not talked about? We have yet to see Tyler Bass kick.
That's what I thought we asked you about him yesterday, and I wanted to ask again. That, I think, is a good one.
And it doesn't mean that anything's wrong with him. They just haven't done that when we've been out there. He's the only kicker on the team, though. They actually got rid of another kicker they had. He's the only kicker. He's wearing number 16, which is a little bit different. They do have 2 punters. That will be a story at camp. There's going to be a punting battle between Mitch Wisnowski and Tommy Doman, who they drafted. Reed is the only long snapper. But I do think that the health of Tyler Bass kicking in training camp is going to be a story.
Well, that sounds right. It's a little bit just conspicuous, it's in your voice. That last year was a mystery, really, for a lot of it. Just are we ever going to see this guy again?
Right.
And Prater stepped in, no pun intended. He did all right, did really well. And he was up, right, Prater?
Yes. He was a free agent.
Just a 1 year thing to fill in emergency.
I mean, he basically had told me, like, he's like, hey, I'm enjoying it, but he's getting older and lives out in Arizona, and at some point, he's gonna go back and do that, and that's what it is. And he even said he says when Tyler's ready, by all means, like, I'm just here to fill in until he's ready, and apparently that's the case, but we haven't seen that yet. I want to see it. I want to see Tyler Bass actually, kick the ball. I guess if I could, stretch for another one, I was looking at something today. What was it about? I think the Dalton Kincaid story has been something we talked about a lot. Oh, I know what it is. Staying on special teams. I wonder what they do at the return spot. I'm not talking about kick return. That should be Ray Davis, maybe Ty Johnson. Like, who's the punt returner? Because how does that impact the wide receiver room? Because Mecole Hardman can do it, but are you keeping Mecole Hardman on the roster? What does that mean at wide receiver? So I think two special teams areas that we really don't get a chance to really watch that stuff or really get a full gauge of it at camp, I should say. We do watch some of the return guys, but a lot of guys are doing it this time of year. I think those are two storylines to watch at camp.
Coleman would be an idea there. I just wonder, with all the issues he's had, I feel like trusting him, not that him not showing up on time has to be connected with whether he could competently, be trusted to field punts and return punts, but like that, if he's going to be good enough to make the roster and not squeezed out by someone, but also not be like at the top of the rotation, like, man, I'd rather do that than have Shakir. Although you trust Shakir to catch the ball and not make a mistake, but you're still it's added on field. It's more snaps. It's more exposure for a guy that's way more important to your offense than Coleman probably will be. So like I wonder, maybe once the summer comes, we'll see where he is, if he is at all in the rotation of guys fielding punts.
I agree with that. I did ask Joe Brady back at the Combine about this very question, and you bring it up, which is, do you really want Khalil Shakir back there doing that, or would you rather have a dedicated return man? His answer basically suggested they'd rather have a dedicated return man. But, of course, you just said it. They trust Khalil Shakir, and if they need to do that, they will. And then let's just say they do trust Keon Coleman. I agree. That might be a little better option than to having Khalil Shakir back there putting the wear and tear on his body. I mean, if Keon Coleman can be a top 3 wide receiver, I think the perfect scenario to me, like I'm just reading into what Joe Brady said now, and I don't know this for sure, but the perfect scenario would be Keon Coleman wins a top 3 job. He's on the field. They want him out there. He's doing everything he's supposed to do. So he's out there with DJ Moore, Khalil Shakir, and then we'll just find somebody else that's a good return man, and we don't have to, because that way we can use those guys for how we want to use them.
Yeah. We don't have a lot of time for this, but it's something I wanted to ask you about. Was I listened to Allen. Allen spoke. Was that on Tuesday that he spoke to the media? I can't remember the days now.
Yes.
But I went back and listened to it last night because I was curious if anybody would be inclined to ask him about the quote. This trip to where we started talking about Tyler Bass and you said Tyler, and I remembered. I think we're talking to Tyler Dunn tomorrow.
Yep.
And he wrote a piece that dropped over the weekend, like Tyler does. GoLongTD.com on Allen. And there's a quote in that story from Allen about his future, basically. And I wonder if you had any reaction to that. Do you know the quote I'm talking about? I'll read it. I have it right here.
Yes, I'll play this game as long as I can play it the way I want to.
I'm going to play football how I know how to play it until I can't. And when I can't play it the way I want to play it, it's probably when I'm done. But hopefully that's still quite some time. I don't think he was asked about it. At least I didn't hear it. What is your reaction to that? Because we took that for a ride earlier this week, and I don't know. On one hand, I can certainly see where you might think, boy, I thought I had like 8 years left, and maybe now it's only 4. I don't know.
My reaction is that Josh Allen believes he can play the way he's playing for another 15 years.
Okay.
That I really believe that. I would say that I know Josh Allen well enough to believe that he believes he can play at this level, throwing and running, for 15, 20 more years. He's going to keep doing it. And that quote to me says, I'm going to keep doing that, and I know I can, but the moment I can't, that's when I know that things might be different.
Yeah.
Maybe I have to decide a different future.
20 more years. Could be a grandfather. How many grandfathers have ever been active in the NFL? Not too many.
One, Philip Rivers.
Philip Rivers.
Right. Wow.
Good pull.
Right there with the answer, Sal.
Good job. At least one.
You're the best.
Tyler Bass married Rick Tootin's daughter, the punter for
Yes.
the Super Bowl 25 Bills, and he's deceased now. And that's the only Bills jersey I have is a game-worn Rick Tootin jersey. Not Super
Isn't
Bowl.
it also sleeveless, did you tell me?
It's almost sleeveless.
It's real tight around the arms.
You would not stop laughing for a week if you saw me in it.
Yeah, right.
Like the sleeves come down to here. He cut the sleeves so short.
Did you not wear it in here one time?
Maybe I did.
I felt like you were
probably-
stuffed into that
hopefully I
thing
did.
like a human sausage. It was incredible.
It might have been right at the end of the Awaken 180 tour. I might have tried it on.
I know you guys got to go, but I was waiting for you to ask me if I had any questions for you because I had one loaded today. And I want to ask you guys
good.
this.
Okay.
We'll make time.
Because you've been talking about the game last night, right?
Yeah.
I am always fascinated at the end of a game, college or pro, in that situation if you guard the inbound pass, and the Spurs decided not to, and it burned them. OG had a clear run to the basket. I hate when you don't guard the inbound. If you thought about that, do you think that mattered?
Fox was over there, but he ran away. He didn't really aggressively. He didn't guard the pass the way Anthony Towns did on the Spurs final chance. And in fact, he tipped that pass. If you didn't know that, I needed a replay this morning to see that because last night, maybe they got to it last night. I just never saw a replay. I was like, what were they trying to do with that play? That pass didn't make sense. They were going for like a layup dunk, like an alley-oop to the point guard. Why is his name escaping me? I'm watching these games. Oh, my God. Anyway, Towns blocked it. So Fox is over there, but as soon as it gets inbounded, he runs over to double-team Brunson and leaves the guy alone is what happened there.
It just made it so easy. I believe, if I'm right, I believe Rick Pitino has said something to the effect of he always has regretted not guarding Grant Hill when he threw it down to Christian Laettner. Like that, like you gave him a free throw. And I always remember that. And I'm like, that's right. Like, why would you do that? And then I'm watching, and I had one of my former coaches / teachers, loves basketball, texted me today, and his beef was, why do you have the Defensive Player of the Year, Wemby, on the perimeter in that situation? And I went back and looked and said, you're right. Like, if he's in the paint, maybe that doesn't happen. I don't know. It's just, I thought it was fascinating, the end of that game.
I gave up on it, I have to admit, at halftime. So, I'm writing all this down. Sal, thanks for toughing it out today with your voice hurting a little bit, and we'll give you tomorrow off. Appreciate your time.
You got it, guys. Thank you.
Sal Capaccio on the Wester Hotline. His appearances brought to you by New York's only outlet liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet?
I believe as the game was ending, I was watching a Netflix documentary about Michael Jackson called The Verdict. 3 parts. I got through part 1.
Castle is the name I needed there, by the way.
Castle.
I've really liked him.
Andrew
UConn,
Castles.
Really nice player. That was there, too. Like, again, when I turned it off, I thought, is he trying to throw it? He wasn't trying to throw it where he threw it. That didn't make any sense. But Castle, they were so worried about Wemby, he swung around back, and it was there. Like, if Anthony Towns just got a fingertip on it, and if that ball goes to the hoop, he is in the air and maybe dunking it for the win. It was totally there. So great job by the Knicks to guard that pass and get a finger on it.
Yeah, because you can't lose when you've caught up
Come
from
all the way
29
back from
points
29 down.
You can't lose at the buzzer after that.
That'd be really tough.
Time for a break. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. Give us a call, 803-0550. This is WGR.
Buffalo Bills wrapped up mandatory minicamp today, and now following this afternoon, Bills have the next 48 days off until the start of training camp. There, though, was some roster news today for the Bills. Cornerback Dorian Strong has been waived with an injury designation. Aaron Sacapaccio is reporting he is expected to miss the 2026 season with a neck injury he suffered last year. This is a procedural move. If he does clear waivers, he's going to be placed on IR. And then the Broncos, they are signing head coach Sean Payton to a new 5-year deal. Payton had just 2 years remaining on his current contract. Going on tonight, Game 5, Stanley Cup Finals at 8 o'clock. Carolina does host Las Vegas. That series is tied 2-2. Brandon Bussey expected to get the start in net for Carolina tonight, but Freddie Anderson is available after skating this morning. Coverage of Game 5 going to be right here on WGR, starting about a half hour before game time at 7:30. In the World Cup, Mexico takes down South Africa 2-0. There were 3 total red cards in this game. They are just one shy of the total amount of red cards in 2022, which ended up with 4. Game 2 today is going to be at 10 o'clock. South Korea taking on Czechia, while the United States, they'll get their tournament started tomorrow night when they take on Paraguay. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
I just heard the word at the combine. I heard it from a couple different people, is that there hadn't been a lot of movement, that there's still a gap. Now, I had a couple people tell me he's definitely testing free agency. And I said, guys, I'm not going there because who knows what can happen. You can always do it later. The one thing I definitely did hear is that there's still a gap. There's still work to be done there.
I'm just going to go with the real thing. Elliot Friedman there on Alex Tuck. I was thinking about my own situation. I was thinking about other sort of family things that would have been funny to me, but probably not worth the effort and appropriate.
Well, then good
when
job.
When there
Good
are
job,
no
then.
names mentioned, you really do. Let me just tell you, have carte blanche as a host. But no, Alex Tuck. I enjoyed Sal's answer to the Josh Allen question. It was funny and
yeah,
good. What do you think about this quote that Allen might be thinking about his mortality as a player, as told to Tyler Dunn, who will join us tomorrow, once he can't, quote unquote, play the way he wants to or play the way he does? And Sal said, I believe he thinks he can do what he's doing for 15 more years. And then he went to 20.
Right.
Which would make Allen 50. Now we're in George Blanda territory.
Yeah, right.
So, fine, but doubt it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm going to take Sal's word for it that Allen might believe that now, but it's wholly unrealistic that I think he'll even be capable of doing what he's been doing in 5 years, let alone 15. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong for his sake and our sake and all of our sakes. I hope he's, playing quarterback forever for the Bills at the level he's playing at. I don't think it's realistic, and so I'm still sort of where I was when we talked about this on, maybe it was Monday we first talked about it. That I think it, like I said to Sal, suddenly I'm a little more worried about the shelf life there, because if he feels like once I can't do this the way I want to do it, then I'm gonna call it a day. Then that has to be closer to the finish line than compromising how you play, changing it, modifying it, whatever. I did say when we talked about this on Monday, not to try to say everything. I don't want to be Joe Brady over here.
You know, I'm sitting here.
That it is right. You should smack me if I do. But the other. There's a oh my gosh, this is not going to last as long as we thought, or I thought, part. And then the other part of me is, I remember when I was 30, and
30.
Right. I mean, my God, it's like I'm double that age now. You might think it's going to last longer than it really is, and when you get 35 years old and like realize you can't hurdle over linebackers anymore, you still might want to play and find a way to do it effectively without being able to do all that stuff. So like we'll see. He can cross that bridge when he gets to it. It all depends on how you want to look at it, but the mainly to me the most the unrealistic part is like 15 or 20 years. I mean, forget it. I mean, come on. He might think that, but of course it's not going to happen.
Well, it doesn't sound like this is how he was thinking when talking to Tyler, but do you think he would have an eye on Favre's record, consecutive starts?
How far do you know?
10 years.
10 more years?
10 more years.
Of starts.
And change. Regular season only.
I would. Is he thinking about it? Would he have thought about it? Probably. Is he thinking about it? I don't think you can think about something that's 10 years away.
No.
That hinges on you not getting hit by someone and missing games.
Fair. Just in terms of it being a goal.
Yeah.
If he's talking about, I'm going to play until I can't do it the way I want to do it, that's the opposite of saying I want to break that record.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You're not saying I want to break that record. I'm going to play as long as I can would be the way to answer that question if that's where you were thinking, what you were thinking.
Yeah.
He is 8th all-time, tied with Joe Flacco, whose streak is far from over. No, that's not the
long
right.
over.
Long over. At 122 starts in a row. Next on the list is Matthew Stafford at 136. So he's 14 away from Stafford. It's the longest active streak. The second longest active streak.
Stafford obviously is still going. Yeah, okay.
No, Stafford is not.
It's been interrupted. Yes, that's right. Thank you. Of course, Baker Mayfield played there. Yeah, okay. Other guys too. Yeah, gotcha.
Stafford.
Yes. Yeah, I just when you said that, I thought like he's going to keep piling them up, but it's already over.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
This is the longest active streak. I don't know what the second longest active streak is.
Yeah.
I don't have that. I've got an all-time list in front of me. And Allen is 8th, tied with Flacco. So there's Joe Ferguson is on this list, by the way. He had 107 until 1984, 77 to 84. Also, would Allen get to a point where he plays the most seasons in a row for the Bills or becomes like the all-time Bills player by games? That record, most games played by a Bill is, you know who holds that record? 221.
Wow.
I had a different guess. My guess is 3rd on this list.
2 all-time games played.
Yep. Regular season. 221. So what's that? 16 game seasons. 160 is 10 plus 62. Another 4.
Is it? My guess is Ken Jones.
No, Ken Jones. 158.
Okay.
My guess was Jim Richer.
No, 158 is pretty good. It was like not even close. I mean, it's not.
That's fair. That is how I think I sounded.
Yeah, you did.
And how I reacted. But I'm not sure I want to walk away from it.
Okay.
17th on the list. He's 17th.
All right, that's pretty far down.
And I'm looking at these in order. So like, Ken Jones. There he is. That was like that.
Yeah.
My guess was Jim Richer.
I was going to guess him and then pivoted to Jones. How much better a guess is Richer?
Richer is 3rd.
Okay.
203.
A much better guess.
Ken Jones. I don't have a Ken Jones take. 76 to 86, left tackle.
I just knew he was here a long time. That's like spanned, like he was,
Was he good? He was good enough to play 11 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah.
He was good?
I think he was good, yeah.
Ken Jones.
Yeah.
I mean, I got Devlin. Then it's Wolford.
Yeah.
I don't have Ken Jones. I mean, I've heard the name, but
right.
72?
Sure.
Okay.
Years old? Nah, I don't know.
Number 72?
Yeah. How? Where is the guy you just mentioned that I always confuse with Ken Jones?
Devlin.
Where's he on the list?
He's 4th.
See, I have
191.
I've always how similar. What's his years with the Bills?
76, the same first year.
Okay.
To 89. He's on the team.
Ken Jones and him have been the same guy to me. Devlin and Jones.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Bookends.
Yeah, I'm trying to defend myself on my Ken Jones guess.
You're trying to dig out on Ken Jones?
I could have just as easily spit out the name Joe Devlin. Because to me, but Devlin's the one who was here longer and therefore is a much better guess.
Devlin is on the team that loses in Cleveland.
I'm digging myself into a spot where I admire you for going no, or however dismissive.
You're starting to respect it.
Yeah,
you're going to give me a break on
Devlin was a much better guess, and I thought of him
Richer
too,
was my guess.
But I couldn't.
We don't have the top two yet.
Okay, good. Yeah, because I'm doing great, apparently.
You're trying too hard. They're both in the Hall of Fame.
Okay, so Bruce.
Bruce is second.
And Thurman is...
Andre's first.
Andre, of course, Andre, 85. Duh.
85 to 99.
Yeah.
Same as Bruce.
Yeah.
Thurman is not... he's younger.
Right, 88. Yeah, and same cutoff date, right? They all
99.
The three of them got dumped on the same day.
89 is a fun year to think about. Fun and not fun. I mean, 89 is Ronnie Harmon. The bickering Bills is 89.
Mm-hmm.
But you have like Joe Devlin and Fred Smirlis are on that team. So you have players from the 80 Bills, and the 80 Bills were super good. So you've got it's a transition moment, even though like they're right on the cusp of the Super Bowl years. They're still, and those players are not on those teams. Like Smirlis is gone, maybe San Francisco.
Devlin
might have retired or moved on. So you've got like older guys there in 89. Stalwarts from the Bills. And
I like
90.
I like that you mentioned that. I like that about the 88 team too. Like to say, obviously same thing.
Same premise.
Yeah, right.
Yes. 88 Bills.
Joe Devlin.
Rob Riddick, who is Louis Riddick's cousin.
I believe that's right.
Rob Riddick in 1988, 2 for 2 passing for 31 yards. What happened there?
No touchdowns?
No touchdowns. So these were not
like goal line
trick
halfback
plays.
option plays.
What are these plays? How does a running back, how does a non-quarterback complete multiple passes in a season and none goes for a touchdown? Is that unique in NFL history?
I'm going to say probably.
Who caught these passes? I got to look that up. That could be fun. Rob Riddick.
Joe Devlin.
Rob Riddick, who is most probably well remembered for jumping over the pile for touchdowns that year. He had a ton of touchdowns, just from the one, just jumping over the pile, leaping over the pile. All right, time for a break. 803-0550 to reach us. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR. Stanley Cup Game 5 tonight in Raleigh. When's Game 6? Sunday? Saturday?
It's a good thing that you asked. It's convenient that you asked. It is Sunday, yes. And Game 7 potentially would wait until Wednesday.
Yeah. Yep. So the series ends Sunday at the soonest, or earliest if you prefer.
Right.
I think that's probably right. Can't let this get unchecked. Rob Riddick, 1988, 2 for 2 as a passer. One was a 5-yard pass to the second one. First was a 26-yard pass to Flip Johnson in Seattle in a game the Bills won to convert a 3rd and 4. The second, 2 weeks later, they went back to the well. I'm going to go back to the well.
But only for 5 yards, apparently.
It was a pass to Kelly on a 3rd and 10, and it went for 5 yards.
And then they, of course, went for the 4th and 5 because
they were they were so good. You know that they did. That was maybe the game they clinched that I was at with the goalposts.
Oh, wow, that Jet game? Yeah, all right, cool.
Somehow I don't remember that play.
Oh, well, I gotta give you some leeway there.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a long time ago.
It is.
Yeah.
And a lot else happened that day. During and after that game.
Yeah, including you getting a piece of the netting.
A big piece, a big chunk of the field goal net was in my possession and could still be, actually, but I have no idea where it is. And I've been to most places where I live since then. And so I think I probably would have tripped over it by now.
You're thinking it's not going to be uncovered at this juncture. Maybe.
I doubt I'm going to find it.
That's too bad.
I've got a couple things like that. I'm usually a saver, so what that means is I've got a big messy area downstairs where all my old stuff. Right. But there's a couple things that I have enjoyed having, and that's one of them, and I have no idea where that is. But like I say about my cards, I had a nice cup of coffee the other day with my friend Gary about this. Just like I'm using my lack of organization as a plus. I'm viewing it as a plus. Because this way, now I'll just open a box randomly, like, oh, I have this. It's kind of like that now. Everything is new.
Everything's a gift.
Every time.
Right.
So here's where I don't have 300 spreadsheets or whatever. It's just all over the place. Our chat with Dan Leberfeld next.